Sure, you know,
Yeah.
just human nature.
So the young people I saw coming in, they want to put the work in, get the tattoos, get patched up. So I know what that happens for people in the white race. Are you able to describe what happens for people in the Chicanos and the essays?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't really want to talk about it too much because we keep it, you know what I'm saying, our, you know, lifestyle. Obviously, I'm in music now, so I'm not currently involved in that, but obviously I know about it because I grew up in it. But same thing, you get in there, it's the same thing with everything, you know, like there's these youngsters that want to earn stripes, and they're going to go do what they got to do to earn stripes because they might be looking at 50 years of life in there. So if I'm looking at 50 years to life inside, I might be like, you know what, I'm trying to do stuff. So there's a lot of people that want to come in and earn stripes. I would say a lot of people. So at the end of the day, that's what just it happens, and they have ties back to the streets, and the streets they're inside, and you know, it becomes a business, I guess, right?
So Bloods and Crips has moved over to this country now. Yeah. I just interviewed a Crip out of Manchester who was in Supermax prison here for what happened with him.
We're gonna bring the essays out here. Any of you guys out there?
Kieran Proverbs, shout out to Kieran Proverbs. He's doing good now. He's all positive things. He would love to meet you, man. But how, you know, we've a lot of us have watched movies like Colors. Yeah. How does Bloods and Crips fit into the California prison system?
I mean, yeah, Bloods and Crips is another factions of gangs in Los Angeles. Every city had a Blood and Crip. I mean, even our city had some Crips, and obviously there's Bloods in different areas. Where I'm from, relevantly, it wasn't that big. You know, essays were major, controlling most of the areas, but predominantly in Los Angeles, there's a lot of Bloods and Crips, and it goes in histories. And obviously, when they roll inside, they got their car, and the Bloods and Crips are actually united in there in a way. So, yeah, I mean, they're part of Los Angeles society, definitely. Without Bloods and Crips, essays, those are the three major factions in Los Angeles. But at the end of the day, it's just, we have Samoans now, there's Asian gangs. I mean, there's just a culture of Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And even with the whites, at some of the beach areas, there were skinheads, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just the culture of Los Angeles in general. You know, it's just a pot everybody wanted to represent. They had to represent their side.
I used to have some connections in California. We used to be able to do the West Hollywood Playboy Crips. So, you're getting arrested a few times then, in and out of county jails. Now, you mentioned you had an attempted murder beef. Are you able to say what happened there?
I mean, yeah, it's old stuff. Anything, you know, when you use a weapon of heavy force, it comes out to be attempted murder. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't I didn't have no gun charge of that. But everything what I've learned through the system, because I've been through a lot of times and I fought a lot of cases, won a lot of cases, a lot of shit get dropped. When they first put you in, they throw like 6, 8 charges on you. You got attempted murder, you got like threatening witness, you got like, they just throwing everything at you. You're looking at 14 years, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, at the end of the day, that attempted murder could go down to assault with deadly weapon. It could be a little intimidating, then you do a year or something, county led, you know what I'm saying, get a joint suspension. So I ran into those kind of issues, but yeah, I mean, attempted murder, I never took a plea to it, so I don't have it on my jacket, but when you get in there, they're gonna throw that at you. They're gonna throw as much as things that they can throw at you, you know what I'm saying? So, and some people, unfortunately, there's a lot of good homies in there that they take the first deal they take. And I'm like, bro, you know, like, oh, come on, you know, but it's just, well, I got this going on, and they never been busted in before in their life. It could be a regular street fight. The guy could crack him with a bat, or that guy could pull something out and he hits him with a bat. Guy knocks down, goes whatever, boom. Somehow he tells on him, this guy's doing 10, 15 years, you know, and now he comes out programmed a different kind of guy. A lot of sad stories inside, you know what I'm saying? But
would you say that prosecutors are like used car salespeople? They start out up here, throw that mud at you, see how much will stick, try and scare the shit out of you so you'll sign for something. But the trick is to like hold out, isn't it? Make your case go stale.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, because they'll make it bigger than what it really is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they'll throw you in court. They'll throw you in front of the jury if you're going to jury, whatever. They're gonna make you look like the worst man of the world.
Yeah.
And then that scares some people to see that, and they're like, man, if you lose this thing, you're gonna get even more time. So someone might want to jump on a deal for 10 years to take 20.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you know the cases, you really think through, if it's not really what it really is, you should have a fighting chance. But the system is corrupt too. At the end of the day, they can paint a picture of you bad. And being in Los Angeles in the 90s, like cholos, essays were just not looked upon as like nice people, right? So if you're going in a jury, you're looking at getting convicted, no matter how good you are. Like you could have done nothing wrong. They just they don't understand that lifestyle. They don't get where you're coming from, so they're gonna hang you dry. So a lot of people just end up taking deals and going for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sad situation, but there's a lot of, you know, I could say a lot of racism too, because they look at a homie or essay and they're like, this guy's he's a psycho, he's a killer, he's a murderer. They'll paint you that picture bigger than it is, and you're doing the time now, you know?
Well, that brings me to my next question then, just taking aside from your life story then. What do you think about the war on drugs?
War on drugs, man, you know, it's crazy because I seen a little bit of your story and I seen how it's going. I mean, there's a lot of things to say, like who bring the drugs into, you know what I'm saying? Who really bring the drugs in?
CIA.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of sneaky shit going on. And then it's always stuck in the hood. And, you know, people in the rich area, they do the drugs too, but they never get in trouble. It's the guys who are living in the hood or getting in trouble. Then it's flooded in the hood. I mean, it's crazy, you know? I mean, I remember back in the days, people, rich areas would come and buy the most drugs. But they'd go live the happy life, right? The people in the hood, they're the ones getting popped. They're the ones that are getting boom, 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 you know? And some of these guys up there, they had drugs for sale too, but you know, it's like it was just focused on getting anybody from the hood. So, man, that was it. I wasn't a drug person. I will tell you the truth. I wasn't like a drug seller. I was more of a street dude. But obviously, around my circle, people were selling drugs, and that was very relevant. And some people were just on the corner slanging rocks, you know, like just looking for the clucker and boom, boom, getting the shit. Homies were putting homies out. Just it was something in the streets in the 90s. It was very common. And then you get fat wads of cash. People were just, you know, boom. But it's just, you know, it's a dirty game, man. Drugs is a business, really.
Who's the biggest gangster, Suge Knight or George H.W. Bush?
Bush.
Shout out to the Bush and Clinton crime families. You are up there.
Criminals, man. They got a lot of blood on their hand. They got a lot of drugs on their hand. I mean, yeah.
I wrote a book exposing this, and I interviewed Freeway Ricky Ross.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think about him?
I read his story a little bit, and yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a good dude. I mean, from now I've seen, he has a crazy story. Got nothing to say, yeah, just, you know, he lived that life, you know, he got put in a position and they took it from him, so, you know, who knows? He knows he knows what's really going on, you know?
What do you think about his beef with Rick Ross, who took his name?
I mean, he obviously is the real Rick Ross, but I'm not going to shit on the other Rick Ross because it is what it is, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
All right,
I guess you can go for it, you know. If you're Rick Ross, go for the other Rick Ross throat. You know what I mean? It's a throat after throat, you know.
I can't believe how much coke he brought in, and then found out he was getting it from the fucking. He was financing the war in Nicaragua for the Bush and Oliver North.
That's what I'm saying. All this crazy corrupted shit. Even today, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of crazy corrupting shit going on, but I mean, yeah, war on drugs. You seen that shit? Crack hit L.A. like crazy in the '80s. You know?
And the weapons.
Yeah, weapons, guns were like, I remember personally, fools were, I didn't pay attention where they're coming from, but now as you get older, like, How did they get there in the hood that easy? You know?
Military aircraft flown by Barry Seal, who also have written a book.
Fools had Tommy guns in those days. People had grenades. Little homies were like 15-year-old kids, like, I can get some grenades. I'm hearing these stories as a kid. So now I looked at it as like normal, but was it really normal? Like to have abundance of any kind of weaponry like that, you know?
So the government had an agenda to fill the private prisons. They were getting like $60,000 a year of taxpayers' money. They went after the lowest hanging fruit. There was massive racism involved. People from the poorest neighborhoods, because they couldn't fight back and get lawyers and shit. I saw one cop say, I just go to a black neighborhood to make my arrest quotas. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, no, it was, because I'll tell you the truth. I would, like when I used to have a little car, I would drive literally in 1 hour's time. I would get pulled over 5 to 6 times, different area, pulled off the street, take off a shirt, lay on the floor, ripping through the car, fucking bending your hands, crushing your feet. Like, I got arrested also. Now, remember, I got arrested 3 times for resisting arrest and once assault on police officer. And the assault on police officer wasn't something that I assaulted the police officer. These guys were putting the knees on your face, doing this. So out of being human, you're like, get the fuck off. Like, you know? Next you know, cop is bleeding or something. Something happened. They're pissed off. You're going in for assault on police officer. So this is the kind of shit that we had to go through as kids. You know what I'm saying? Teenagers. Like, we were dealing with the cops who were just, they'd find you like you're walking. Something hits you in the back. You already know a cop just hit me. You know, and then they turn around, get the fuck off. Guns to the head. I had guns pointed to the head, pushed in my face. I had homies that got killed by cops, friends that got shot with cops and they had no gun on them. No one tells their story, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we see stuff going on in the news now, but for the essays, I think there's been never no stories. Like, it just gets swooped up under the rug. Nobody says nothing. It's just another, oh, yo, he looked like he was, I mean, how was he looking like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't the cops carry like throwaway guns around to just put on people as well in those neighborhoods?
Yeah, they definitely did dirty shit like that. Obviously, I can't say it happened to me because it didn't, but I know they were dirty to the point where they're like telling me, we're gonna do dirty shit to you. We're like, hey, motherfucker, boo, like talking to me like, yo, you know, we could get you right now for that. We could do, you know, so they were basically playing their game of, we're gonna do what we wanna do. I had to play my game of like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I could see many people falling for it, like just falling into their trap. And there's history now that shows many people in like the Rampart district, all the guys who got taken in and the cops played them, you know what I'm saying? And this is happening everywhere in LA. All the cops there were a lot of dirty cops, straight up dirty cops. I mean, if they're gonna swing at you when you're teenagers and they're putting knees on you and they're trying to choke you out, like, you know, you're really feeling like they're really being super aggressive. You already know what they're trying to do, you know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to play fair.
So they militarized the police.
Yeah.
And they go in with these like tanks and everything now. Were you ever in any SWAT team raids, like military style stuff?
Yeah, I got raided a couple of times as a kid. I mean, teenager. They come in with the military, had to ram the door, woo-woo, searching for shit, whatever, you know? Get on with the business and find shit, you know?
Does it just become a way of life after so long?
Yeah, I think in those days it was a way of life because I remember I had court dates every day, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, I gotta go to this city court. I gotta go to that city court. And these are different towns and different cases. So my court was like basically my job, like going to court, try to make sure I go to court because I was a little bit smarter. I'd finished my court cases, but people don't keep up with their court cases. You got so many court cases, boom, then you got a warrant, you're in. So I would take my stuff, go to show up to the courts, but yeah, that shit became a way of life. Like, pulling out of the courthouse was like the time you would think you would never get harassed by the cops. And even you go just a mile down after the court, boop, cop pulls you over. This was back in the days, I would say. I don't know now, honestly, I don't get harassed like that. I don't know if it's times changed, I don't know what happened, but from what I remember as a youngster, like, the cops were your enemies. Like, they're really here to get you. And there was a situation where cops were shooting and people are shooting at cops because it's like a war even with the cops and the people on the streets because they don't trust you and they don't trust each other. So Everyone's getting piece of action now, you know?
So it was like a war zone back then. Have the police since then tried to bridge that gap and make relations open up with those communities, or is it still RoboCop, us versus them?
Well, I see on the TV all of a sudden, like, you know, you see the cops are still doing the same shit. I personally don't have that bad of a thing with the cops no more. Maybe because I'm driving a nicer car. Maybe, I don't know what it is. I mean, but I do get harassed. I was once strolling. See, there's rules that I know. I can't be a regular human being. Like, you know, you can see, like, just say someone like you, a regular guy, he could walk to the store. He could go buy shopping. He could go to the next store. Just walk random. By me walking A to B, my first instinct is cop. If a cop sees me, he's going to fuck with me. 2, it could be an enemy. It could be something from the past. So I'm watching, like I'm walking, not like I got to pay attention from A to B. You know what I'm saying? So that's still embedded in me today. So like once, not too long ago, I went from bank to a little spot where our studio was at. It's the right thing. I seen the cop a mile away. He seen me from a distance. I go, this guy's going to fuck with me right now. So I walk back into the bank. Wait until he leaves, right? And he wouldn't leave. So like, I know he's waiting for me, you know? Like, he wants me. So as soon as he takes off a little distance, I said, it's time for me to go. So I'm walking. Here he comes. I see him come busting a U-turn from way over there. Like, there's 100 people walking, but I know he's coming for me. So I get to the door where I need to get. And he's like, pulls out, like, get on the ground. I'm like, I'm going to my place right here. Whatever. He harassed me. I kind of like try to make a little thing where the security's like, oh shit, this guy, he stays here. Like, they're telling the cops that